Had story after story. It all began, of course, with the 6 goals at Villa Park and Arsenal going back to the top of the table. Brentford 11 unbeaten with a late equaliser against Palace. Fulham into the top 6 with another win late on at Brighton. Chelsea 2 wins in 14, beaten at home by the bottom club Southampton. Huge win for Everton at the bottom of the Premier League against Leeds. 2 in 3 under Sean Dyche now. Nottingham Forest getting a point against the champions Manchester City, who've lost 15 points away from home already this season. Bournemouth, who've gone 7 without a win, winning at Molineux by a Tavernier goal to 0. Liverpool are the only team still to beat Newcastle this season. They've done it twice after that 2-0 victory at St James's Park, and we've just brought you Manchester United 3, Leicester 0. Next up, it is the London derby between Spurs and West Ham. So a reminder, the progress Manchester United have made within 3 points now of the reigning champions Manchester City. Same number of games played, 5 off the top, having played a game more. Spurs will go back into the top 4 if they beat West Ham next. Leicester stay 4 above the drop zone. West Ham are in it if they avoid defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They'll be back out of it, and Bournemouth will be into the bottom 3.
Congratulations, not just on the result, but a special afternoon for you personally. How good does it feel to have broken that personal record now?
Yeah, it's obviously a nice feeling, you know, to be scoring goals and ultimately winning games. I think first half we didn't actually play that well. Second half we played a lot better. You know, we found people in pockets, found Bruno in pockets, Fred, and you know they're creating chances for us. So we need to try and look to do that from the beginning, but it's also a positive that we're not playing at our best and we're going at half time a goal up, so definitely stuff to improve on and learn from, but overall a good day.
Yeah, you mentioned there, particularly the opening stages of that first half, perhaps as a side you weren't at your best. There's a lot of pressure on you when you found yourself through on goal, not just personally but for the team as well, to try and get yourselves out in front. You did have a moment, didn't you, before you looked up, so what was going through your head as you went to place that?
I was going to pass it. Yeah, I was going to pass it. I think Garner made a good run, but the defender was on the inside of him. So yeah, we had a little look at the keeper and then a look at Garner, and I just thought shooting across the goal would be the best option. If the keeper does save it, then he can have a chance of tapping it in for a rebound. So always going to go across goal there, but yeah, good for it to hit the back of the net.
Your reaction quite understated, actually. Was there a certain amount of relief there, do you think?
For the first goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think when teams are putting pressure on you, they're creating some good opportunities. David, brilliant save. I think it was his arm or his leg early on in the first half, and they're important moments. And you know, without having someone like him in the net, we can't go on to win the game. Because if they go in 1-0 up or they go 1-0 up in the game, it's completely different.
Right, Michael, for the first goal, he says he was thinking about passing. Do you need to speak to him?
For a split second.
Do you need to ring him up? And
he saw sense. I used to always think about it. Never act upon it. But no, to be fair to him, he did the simple route and then shoot yourself.
Yeah, and he said the right thing about going across goalkeeper, because if the keeper does save it, Garnacho is there to put in the rebound. But it's a really composed, cultured finish, because in that scenario there, some centre-forwards would snatch it and potentially just hit as hard as they can, but he's going to cross goalkeeper with a really calm finish, and that's the form that he's in. At the minute, unstoppable. Yeah,
he could have had more in the second half as well, the one he did get. But what's it like when you're so full of confidence on a run like he's on at the moment, when you get in this kind of situation?
Well, I said before the game when we were looking at some of his headers, he just does not miss at the moment, does he? It's quite unbelievable, and I've said for a little while, I hope he isn't a confidence player. I hope this run of form actually is building his self-belief, because confidence players are flimsy. They come in and out of form, and you know, to be a top player, you can't be a confidence player. Castagna here gets way too close. He's got to know his man. And actually, look, the whole team are pressing over this side. The whole back four can come across. Leave oceans of space for someone like Marcus Rashford. This is just absolutely playing to his strength. I mean, Leicester can do a lot more about that goal.
They can. I mean, the speed that he shows. I mean, Castagna, he's running with his hand up. Even if he gets his head down and just sprints, he's probably not going to stick with Marcus Rashford, but he'd have a better opportunity of trying to stop him. But once he gets into that area, just before that, he had a chance. It was probably a little bit easier. Rashford went in between the defenders, but he chose the wrong finish. That one there, he probably learnt from what he did previous, got it there, opened his body out, and it's a really good finish.
24 goals in all competitions. If he stays fit and firing, what could he end up with this season?
Again, I said before the game, you know, he should be targeting 36 goals in the form he's in. We're only just past halfway. There's still a lot of big games. Manchester United are in virtually every competition as well. So, you know, it's scary numbers we're looking at. And, you know, we're looking at a player that we could be talking about at world level, world-class level in years to come if he keeps this going.
It's 10 years since Manchester United had a player on 30 goals. That was one Robin van Persie. The third goal, Jadon Sancho off the bench, 9 goals from substitutes. But all round, once Martinez had won this back, Darren, how quick and clinical was this? Really
good. And Manchester United at their best interaction, cute passes. I mean, really good play from Sancho there. And Bruno, to be fair, because they both chose the right option. But again, Martinez with a really good defending. But it's Weghorst's run here, Michael, that kind of opens up the space.
Yeah, it's a great striker's run, isn't it? An unselfish run and creates all that space for Sancho. But I just love this. I mean, he could have shot, spots a different option, and that little 1-2. It's a brilliant goal. I mean, we've seen this from Manchester United a few times this season. They're looking a lot sharper in attacking areas now. When you can afford to bring on someone like Sancho off the bench, then you know you're doing something right.
So there we go then, 3 points. Manchester United then leading at half-time by a 1-0 against Leicester at Old Trafford, with, Michael, their only effort on target, but it's a familiar name in the headlines.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when he gets a chance at the moment, there's just no stopping him. It's just in the back of the net without even thinking about it. And that's a lovely thing, confidence, you know, when you're feeling that way. But from Leicester's point of view, I'd be feeling really aggrieved if I was a Leicester player at the moment. They've had so many chances, so many breakaways, so many times where they've outnumbered the Manchester United defence as well, and they've not been able to capitalise on it. So I think Ten Hag's got a little bit of talking to do there, actually, just to reshuffle things a little bit and to stay a bit more compact.
As Michael says, it was a finish full of confidence. 23 in the season for Marcus Rashford now, Darren.
Yeah, superb finish. I mean, he's got an option there to pass it, but that's the form that he's in. He feels like he doesn't need to do that, and he knows exactly when he gets into this position what to do with it, where to finish it, and he finishes it with some assurance. And again, great run, great timing of his movement. But as soon as he gets in there, he does everything right. Goes across the goalkeeper. If the keeper makes a save, he probably parries it to Garnacho, but a really good finish, Michael.
Yeah, it's a lovely finish. I do think Fass is at fault here. He gives the ball away in the first place. I don't know where he's going here. Well, I do know he's going to pick Weghorst up, but that's not the danger. Rashford's the danger, running right in behind you. So he makes 2 mistakes within a second of each other. Rashford does have a look,
yeah,
but you wouldn't have passed it, would you? No, I wouldn't.
No, probably wouldn't. But really, really good finisher. But when you look from Faust's perspective as well, he's trying to make up for the mistake he's just made. So he's obviously given the ball away. He's gone in there to try and win it back, but he's forgot about Rashford, who's behind him. And as we spoke about it before, for me, he's probably the most informed front man in Europe right now. So if you give someone that type of time, that type of invitation, he's going to take it every single time. It's a really, really good finish.
Yeah, and never before in his career has he scored more than 22 goals in a season. He has now, because that is number 23. Now, before the game, we talked about the form, the consistency of David De Gea. He's reached 400 Premier League games for Manchester United at 0-0. How good were these 2 saves?
Incredible, Steve. I mean, the second one in particular, I thought. But no, Leicester had a few chances, as I mentioned earlier. And if it wasn't for David De Gea, then they would have certainly gone ahead. I thought that was a really average finish, I must admit. Yes, great save, but I think, I mean, it's not a hard finish, that one. He can go either side. Virtually chipped it down the middle. But hey, take nothing away from De Gea, but this one, Darren, I thought was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, really good movement from Iheanacho, but to get down there and claw it out, I mean, what a save. Iheanacho does everything well. Me and Mocha were talking, could he maybe bring it down on his chest potentially and finish it off, because Dallow's committed himself, but take nothing away from that save. That is what you call top quality save. Like making up the ground, moves his feet, claws it from behind him. What a save that is.
Phenomenal.
Just want your views on a tackle made by Marcel Sabitzer, the on-loan Bayern player in the midfielder, on Fass. What did you think?
So at first I thought it was a red. I mean, I know when you slow everything down, it looks worse than it is, but I mean, it's still high. The ball's nowhere near it. The only thing you say is that in real time, maybe he doesn't really go down with a lot of force, but certainly from the referee's perspective there, seeing that, I mean, that on the kneecap, the ball's nowhere near it. And that's out of control, it's high. I'm surprised he's still on the pitch, if I'm honest. That's my opinion.
Reckless, possibly dangerous?
Yeah, I think when you look at it slowly, it does him no favours. I think it's more of a... There's no force in terms... It's not a leg breaker. Don't get me wrong, he puts it in a position where it could be, but it's not a leg break. It's more of just a flick, a grazing blow. Got to be very careful. You can't be throwing your boots up that high.